Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another live stream coaching session. Cliff Ravenscraft here, and I have another wonderful guest who has volunteered to be coached live here on the internet today. Before I introduce Ling-en, I just want to say a couple of things. First and foremost, if you stick around for this entire live session, or if you're watching the replay, and you would like to volunteer for one of these live stream coaching sessions, couple things you need to know. Number one, it's free. Number two, it's my gift to you. Number three, no strings attached. And number 4 and 5, there is no expectation nor any obligation you will ever pay me a single penny for my ongoing coaching products or services. So if you are interested in a complimentary, full-blown, 90-minute one-on-one coaching experience, taking any area of your life, personally, professionally, or spiritually, to whole new levels, email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Put live stream coaching in the subject line. All right. I want to introduce my friend Ling-en, who is from France. I have known Ling-en for more than a decade. He also was a member of my podcast mastermind from 2012 to 2014. When my family visited Paris, he took us out to lunch one day and showed us around. He has also traveled from France to attend the Free the Dream conference that my wife and I hosted. So, and then in 2019 or so, he spent a year in the Next Level Mastermind. So Ling-en and I go way back. This will not be the first time I get to hear the story about what's going on in Ling-en's world, but it has been about 4 or 5 years since I've had the privilege of being Ling-en's one-on-one coach and mentor. And so with that, Ling-en, welcome. And because this is more than just a private one-on-one coaching session, I'd love for you to introduce who you are, what business you're in, and how did you get involved in it?
Yeah. First of all, I'm really excited to be here. My hands are sweating. It's a huge honor for me to be coached by you, Cliff. Thanks. Um, I live in Paris. I'm a father. I have a daughter of 3. I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years now, and my passion was around marketing and sales because that's what I learned. And so I was passionate about this content creation. And 4 years ago, when I started to work with you one-on-one and through your mastermind, I realized how coaching was amazing. You introduced me to the Prosperous Coach book. You coached me. I saw the transformation it had in my life. So I wanted to bring all my knowledge, my expertise, my passion on marketing and sales. And now in my French community, uh, I help coaches to, first of all, sell and market their coaching, because I really think that coaching can change lives and transform the world. And secondly, now I even teach people who want to start coaching. So we sell an online course for them as well.
That
So
is awesome.
I help them with marketing and sales, and I help them launch their coaching career.
Nice. So a couple things here I pick up is that you've been an entrepreneur for 12 years, full-time self-employed. I also heard that your daughter is now 3 years old, and I believe I saw something about baby twins are on the way.
Oh yeah, you've seen that. Yes, that's right.
That is awesome. Congratulations, by the way. I'm
Yeah,
super
thanks.
excited for you and your wife and all the adventures that are ahead with that big, huge exponential leap in the family size. So I know one of the things that you had mentioned to me that was the desire to focus on today is something we touched on years ago, and that is the profit side of the business. You said there's nothing we can't talk about here. So
Yeah.
you're in a place right now where you're generating approximately $20,000 a month pretty consistently in the business.
Mhm.
And the issue that you were facing the last time you and I were chatting was that while the revenue seems to be level or sometimes increasing, the profit still had been a significant issue for you, meaning that it seems like your team gets paid better than you at times. Whether that's the actual case, at least it seemed that way. And it seems like, wow, I'm taking care of these people, I'm giving them this, but there for some reason I'm not making the decisions in my business that make sure that I'm incredibly well paid for all of this value I'm bringing to the table, not just to my clients, but also to my team. Is that an accurate statement?
Uh, yeah. It's exactly this, and I can go deeper in the why, the how, but yeah, mainly it's exactly this.
You said that one of the reasons why what you want to focus on today is this upper limit challenge. You're familiar with the book The Big Leap?
Yeah, that I discovered thanks to you.
Yep. So the upper limit challenge is this idea that at some level of success, we get outside of our comfort zone of what we think is an appropriate financial level of success. And appropriate meaning right.
Mm.
And at some point you can get up to a certain limit, and if you go too far above that, it's almost as though you're doing something wrong by being that financially successful, that somehow you're not worthy of it, or that by your having this, it's taking it away from others. There's all sorts of things that can cause this, but it's the idea that in your life, you've developed the idea of a thermostat. And I'm just refreshing this for those who have never heard of the Big Leap book by Gay Hendricks. But he says that it's kind of like having a thermostat in your home. So in the summertime, I know that you are in Celsius, but I'm going to speak to my Fahrenheit audience for the most part.
Yeah, sure.
So in the summertime here, it can get like 100 degrees with 98% humidity. It's just like, you don't want to go outside. So inside, we have the thermostat set to 74 degrees. And if all of a sudden it gets to 76 degrees, if it gets too warm in the house, the air conditioning kicks on and it will cool the house down. It's like, listen, this is too much heat. Let's keep it down here. This is the comfort level. Same time in the winter time, it can get below 0 Fahrenheit at times, and we'll set the temperature to say 69 or 71 degrees. And so if it ever drops below that, then we turn the heat on. So you can get a feel for our family. We like it somewhere between 69 degrees and 74 degrees. This is our zone of comfort when it comes to the temperature of our home. And what we have in our life at times is we have a zone of comfort. For me personally, 20K seems to be my low. Anything, if I ever drop below 20K a month in my business, watch me get jumping to action. It's like I turn the furnace on and I'm like, boom, I'm out there. I'm cranking stuff out. I'm doing all the things that I already know that work. It's not that I don't know what to do. It's just I start putting the mechanisms into action. I put fuel on the fire and I heat the place up and I bring the financial temperature. But man, over here, my upper limit challenge has seemed to be right around that 30K range. And so sometimes I'll do some things, and Lingen, I've had months where I'm like, I'll hit $55,000. And I'm like, oh, this is great. But man, that's way more than I need. You know what I'm going to do is I'm totally going to rest and relax. And I'm going to go all in on this other side passion project and all this other stuff. And I'll keep doing that until all of a sudden my income drops down to 40K, to 30K, to 28K. And then it'll get down to that. I'm sorry, to 30K. Then it'll get 28K. And I will stay pretty much inactive for quite some time until I drop below 20K. And then it's like, time to go back to work again. This is what we call the upper limit challenge. By the way, does that sound familiar to you,
Yeah,
Lingen?
yeah, of course, of course. I read the book thanks to you, and it's exactly what I experience in a lot of areas in my life.
Okay. So the last thing I'll read from your thing here, it says, describe a seemingly impossible goal. And you wrote down, allowing myself to be financially successful because I know the how.
Mm.
All right. Where do you want to begin? What is your greatest challenge right now as it relates to all of this? What could you and I discuss today that would make this the most powerful conversation for you?
I know you talk a lot about this. I know that you read Psycho Cybernetics, and I know it's a lot about my identity because I grew up in a very poor environment with parents who were immigrants. I know that today, like if you could watch me working every day, you will see some behavior that shows that I still think like beginner entrepreneurs, poor um, entrepreneur because, for example, um, I will spend some times doing some video editing because that's work. You need to hustle to find the tool and stuff. But if you ask me to spend 15 minutes planning my next quarter, I won't do it, even though I'd rather, even though it brings me much more joy to do that, because I will subconsciously think that it's not work because it's a white collar thing and I'm a blue collar guy. So I need to struggle to suffer. Uh, but if you just ask me to think, to plan, to benchmark, to brainstorm, I won't feel as it is work. So even though I have a team, as you said before, some very often I will not delegate things I should delegate, and I will not do the job I'm supposed to do as a CEO, a visionary, an entrepreneur. So that's one symptom of me thinking like a poor guy. And of course, by doing this, I cannot grow my business because I'm behaving like I'm like 5 years ago. Of course, I'm improving and my team helps me a lot, but still, uh, this this growth is too slow. I want to go um, faster because I have a family, as you said. The family is growing, and because I know that my potential is way above what I'm doing right now, and I want to live more with more financial. Um, with more wealth, with more money, not to. Well, I know that during your Free the Dream conference, you asked us to not censor ourselves in our dreams. But yeah, I think today it's legit for me to want to buy a house, for example. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why is it legitimate for you to want to buy a house today, whereas 5 years ago that was not
Yeah.
the case?
Um, I think it's something about self love, self worth, because if it's for my family, it's okay. If it's for myself, well, I should be content with what I have. It's already awesome. I don't need that much money. But if it's for my family, then I feel better because it's like, yeah, I'm responsible for my family, but if I suffer, if I struggle myself, that's okay. And that's why when I got married and I had a child, um, my business grew because I needed more money. But if I was still single, I think I wouldn't be making 2 or 3 times less, unfortunately. And what's wrong with this? Like, why is it it's a problem? it's not just about money. It's about like it's what I wish for my clients and I wish it for myself. I know my potential. I know that God gave me talents. I just want to use them and to help other people to contribute. And by having my limiting beliefs, my fears, this upper limit challenge, I'm not doing my best. And that's not 100% satisfying.
Okay. So I'm hearing a couple things. I wrote a few things down. There were a couple more statements that are of interest, but I was trying to continue to stay with you while writing down the first few. So I should be content with what I have.
Mm.
So I definitely resonate with that, from my old perspective, because as you know, I've used to deal with an upper limit challenge at the kind of levels of thinking that you're experiencing. I talked about this in my opening keynote address of the Free the Dream conference. By the way, if anybody's watching the live or replay of this, or if you're hearing this in a podcast episode, check out mindsetanswerman.com/free. The opening keynote address to the Free the Dream conference is available for free. You sign up via email. If you don't like it afterwards, you can just my email list. You can unsubscribe, but get free access to mindsetanswerman.com/free. All beliefs have consequences. And I talk about the fact that I used to, why I only made $11,000 my first year in business, net income, when I worked about 90 hours a week. And it had a lot to do with all of this. But so this idea that I should be content with what I have, there's something to be said for being for appreciating what you have. There's something to be said, I believe, at this stage for not for understanding that I don't need to have more, that if this were all that were available to me, I don't need anything more to be happy. I don't need anything more to be more fulfilling, that already I have more than I could ever truly need, and I'm incredibly blessed. So it's not like I need this to feel more peace in my life. I don't need this to feel more fulfilled. I don't need this to show off and have other people think highly of me. And so there's I don't need it for that. And I am content with what I have. But is it possible to be content with what you have? Know that you don't need more, but you have the ability to create more. And if it's possible and it's attainable for me, and if there are some things that I can do that benefit me, my family, and everyone else that I serve in the process of getting that thing, is there anything wrong with that? So I'll give you a perfect example of this. You know the story of my house. Yes, Lingen?
Yes.
So our family of 5 lived in a 1,200 square foot split level home. It was a 3-bedroom. My wife and I had a master bedroom, which was a really small little room comparatively to what I grew up with my family and stuff like that in my later adult years. My uh, my my 2 daughters were sharing a little bedroom, which was really tiny. And my son had a bedroom that is the size of my walk-in closet today.
Hmm.
Okay, just to give you an idea. And then I started working from home, and we had this small little half basement, which was a family room. And I put a wall up in the middle, and I started working from home in a little 8 foot by 9 foot room, which was my office and my studio. And then my daughter was starting to get into her preteen years and sharing a room with her sister. She really wanted her own space. So we converted the other side of our what used to be family room to her bedroom, which is now on the opposite side of the wall of my office. So now I have a teenager who during the summertime is not in school. Her friends are over and they're in there giggling, playing music, and I'm over here trying to do business to earn money for my family. Now, technically speaking, I know that there are some countries where there are 3 generations of families where the entire family lives in a hut with a mud floor, and the entire house is about the size of our bedroom. So I get how privileged and blessed I am. And at that case, I was content with what I had, but I had a desire for more, and it seemed that having more was a good thing, would be a good thing. There's a lot of benefits that would come from it. It's not that I need it. It's not like I can't live a gratitude-filled life with in the home that I have. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, sure.
But then we saw my wife saw this home that was the model home for the home that we're in now. She showed it to me. The floor plan, as soon as I walked in, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what would life be like if our family lived in a house this size?" And not only that, but the basement of this home, if finished, could be my entire office, which, by the way, is 1,200 square feet. So I'm actually living in that home today. My office is the same square footage of the entire house that we lived in before, and that's just the basement. So we definitely were looking to upgrade. Now, financially, what it would take for us to build this house was massive. And so the question is like, oh my gosh, I really want this house. I really see myself and the things that I accomplished in this house that I couldn't accomplish before. One of the reasons I wanted a 1,200 square foot basement for my office is I could put an entire workshop training studio. People could come from all over the world and I could teach and train people workshop weekends, 14 people at a time, right here in my home office. That dream, that vision, I saw it as I was literally looking at the model home. It was an unfinished basement over there, but I saw the picture in my mind of what I'm sitting in today. You get where I'm coming from, right? And then I began to ask myself, do I need this? The answer is obviously no. The answer is no. Do I want this? Yes. Is it possible for me to have this? And the answer only became yes when I had the picture in my mind. And I began to feel what it would like if that were my reality. And then once I had that, we began to investigate what would it take. And it was $1,000 down. We had $1,000 we can put down and sign a contract. But what we didn't have was the $62,000 cash after taxes above and beyond what I was already going to earn over the next 9 months to actually close on this house, and the ability also to pay 2 mortgages on the current house and the new house in while we're waiting for the old house to sell. So there was a lot that was riding on the table. All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, do I need this? No. Do I want it? Yes. Do I feel what it would be like if I had it? Yes. Do I see how this seems to be a picture of what the life I desire to create and how I desire to show up and how I desire to have a family life where I'm not yelling at my daughter on the other side of the wall all day, every day? Yes. And then I'm like, okay, is it possible to create this kind of revenue that's above and beyond anything I've ever done before? And the answer is yes. What would it take? And here's the key. What would it take for me to earn, in essence, let's just say another $200,000 over the next 9 months that's above and beyond what I'm already creating? And the answer is I'd have to serve a lot more people. I'd have to serve a lot more people. So as a result of that, I added 4 new sessions of podcasting A to Z, which is $2,000 a piece, 4-week program. Instead of limiting it to 20 people per session, I let 30 and 35 people at a time at $2,000 a piece sign up. So 4 extra sessions at, 30,000 or at $40,000 each of those sessions. This is starting to add up. It's like, wow, this is really doable. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I will do this. We signed the contract. And as a result of that, there are 30, 60, 90, 100. There are 120 people in the world today who have been creating content for the last 10 years that have been entertaining, educating, encouraging, and inspiring over 1 million people collectively in the world as a result of me wanting this house. Does that story resonate with you, and does it speak anything to your mindset about, "I should just be content with what I have"? Do you see how millions of people for the last decade would not be hearing all this incredibly powerful content had I remained content and
Mm.
stayed in the smaller house?
Mm. Yes, yes, of course, it's really interesting. I guess when you struggling financially, you don't um, see the big picture, and you forget a bit about your why because you are thinking about the next sales, the next marketing campaign. So yeah, it's really interesting to remind me that what I'm doing, and by being selfish, quote unquote selfish, I can yeah, help other people by creating more wealth, more value. Yeah.
Well, and that's the key takeaway here is, if you want something above and beyond what you have now and above and beyond what you need. Quite frankly, Lingen, you and I right now could lose 80-90% of all the things we have in practically every area of our lives, and we would still have everything we need.
Mhm.
Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I don't know about 80, 90, but yeah, of course that I don't need all that money and all that stuff to be happy. Yeah.
Exactly. And so this is the danger of having that mindset is, I should there's nothing wrong with being content and being satisfied and feeling gratitude and having appreciation and being blessed with what I have and knowing that I don't need more. But when it comes to the desire to have and grow a business and become more profitable and to provide for my more for my family, to build a house, to have more margin, to take less, to work less meetings and have less calls throughout my work week so that I can spend more time with my incredibly growing family.
Mhm.
By the way, your family could get by with you working 60, 70 hours a week, but that's not what you want.
Mm,
So there's nothing wrong with having a clear picture and saying, "You know what? I don't have to work 70 hours a week. I don't have to work on the week," and I know you don't work on the weekends now, but still, I don't have to work on the weekends. I don't have to do these things. I don't have to only earn, 6 or 7 or 8K a month in profit in my business. I don't have to. I can get by with it. I could be content with it, but I want more.
mm,
So I should be content with what I have,
mm,
is a way from what I'm hearing is, I shouldn't want more. Do you see the correlation? Is there, do you see how you can actually be content but still want more?
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, of course. And in some way, it's very really with all the gifts and all the talent like God gave me, all the experience, all the passion I have. It's even like it's almost selfish and to not do more, give more, uh, because yeah, like having a business, it's not at all just a way of making money. So I want to give more and contribute more. Like, to be totally honest, I want to impact like millions of lives in the world, and I cannot achieve that goal if all I'm thinking is um, I don't need more. It's yeah. Mm,
Can you get to the place in your mind where the idea of wanting more profit, wanting more space for your family in a larger home, um, actually could you even get to the place 5 years ago when it was just you and your wife? And because I knew that you wanted a home then, right? I think, right at the time, she was just you guys were talking about having a child.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so you were wanting a home before that. And can you get to a place in your mind where it's like, listen, I know it's just the two of us right now. I know we don't have a child yet. We don't yet have a child on the way. But could you see yourself getting to a place in your mind where even though it's the two of us, I'd like to have a nice country or a nice home outside of the city where one day I would be able to grow a family here, and this would be the place that we settle, and it's just a environment that we would desire to have.
mm,
Could you see yourself getting into a place where wanting that, even though it's not necessary, it's not a need, but could you get to a place where wanting that is actually a good thing?
yeah. Of course, because um, me not being ambitious enough is actually affecting my the life of my family. For example, like um, if my wife wants to stay at home and take care of the children, like she we need more money for that, and if I don't do it, like she needs to find a job and stuff, and it's like I think I'm almost at a place where I told you that I didn't need it, but actually I need it because I don't want my wife to go find a job that she doesn't like, have our children uh, being babysit by someone else. Wow, uh, that's not the val like, like as yourself, my family is a great value for me, and it's really important. So in the pyramid of needs of Maslow, I don't need I have all the things I need to eat, to sleep, but I have other needs. And yeah, like talking about it with you makes me think that, yeah, maybe I just need it, and I should be honest with myself, and that's okay.
And so be honest with myself and say that I want these things, you can even define them as I really need these when it comes to the way that my values are set up. Based
Yeah.
upon my values that I have and my priorities, these are emotional needs for me. I'm very tied at an emotional level for being this type of husband, for being this type of father, for providing this type of lifestyle for my family. And as a result of that, those associations in my mind, those are my needs. But
Mhm.
whose needs are they? They are yours,
Mhm.
right? They're your needs. But I want to get to that third statement. But if I suffer, if I struggle, it's okay.
Mhm.
Now, I know that you have a daughter who's 3 years old. I also know that you have baby twins that are coming. And I know that being a father is a very big deal to you. Who is going to be the greatest influence in your three children's lives over the next 18 to 20 years?
Yeah, like me and my wife.
That's exactly right. Now, do you know, and as a coach, I'm sure you've probably have already picked this up, even though your parenting is on the newer side of things. But what are your kids going to learn from most? Are they going to learn from the things that you teach them with your words most? Or are they going to pick up and learn from you the most what you exhibit an example for them in the way that you live?
Yeah, I think it will be mostly through my behavior, what I'm doing. Yeah.
Exactly. So, would you like for all three of your children when they're in their 20s and 30s to live a life that says, if I suffer and struggle, it's okay?
No, no, I don't. Mm-mm. I don't want that, and I think like in some way, like what I said, my mother was uh, it my mother passed away now, but I know that I don't want my daughter to think this way, but my mother didn't want me to think this way. But my mother actually had this kind of mindset of like I can make sacrifices as long as uh, my children are happier. And yeah, I think I'm doing the same as my mother did, but it's not the same context environment at all. Like uh, I really think she did her best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I'm not sure, but in some way I think she had to do what she did, but I don't need to live this life. Like she was sick, she was widowed, she had two children living in France and not speaking the language. She got married with my dad, who she didn't love and had 20 years, who was 20 years older than her, and she had to make a lot of sacrifices. But like I don't need to live this kind of life. I'm healthy, I'm well educated, I have all the tools I need, uh, and in some way, uh, if she were able to watch this session, she would think that it's stupid to behave this way, because I'm not in her shoes at all, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that my mother, that I was mimicking my mother, uh, because she's actually someone I really, really admire. I didn't when I was younger. It's now that I have a family, I realize how much she did, and I really admire her. But maybe by admiring her, I'm trying to do the same as she did. But once again, it's not the same context at all. Yeah.
Yeah. In many ways, your mother did she did what was the word that you used just a few moments ago? If I were more ambitious. In a
Mm.
way, your mom was kind of ambitious. And in a way, your mom did have a strong desire to provide for you and to find a way as a widow and as an all these things. But the thing is your mother, like you said, did not have access to all of the resources back then that you have available to you today. I
Yeah.
mean, you literally are sitting on uh, acres of diamonds. Have you ever heard of that story, the acres of diamonds?
No.
When you get a chance, if you ever listen to the replay of this, just research the story "Acres of Diamonds." It's a really cool little story, and it'll be something that you'll probably use as metaphors moving forward. But you are literally sitting on so many vast resources that you could build a lot of different things that would generate great wealth and great profit for you and help you easily in many cases. Or if you want to make it more difficult because that is what you feel like you need to do to earn it, you can make it as easy or as difficult as you want to create great wealth and profit. Yes.
Yeah.
But your mom at the time, growing up and being in the environments that she did, the resources didn't seem as rich back then. She didn't have access to the same kind of information that you and I are free. I mean, you and I have the entire world's knowledge and wisdom at our fingertips, which
Mhm.
is crazy. So,
Mhm.
in a way, your mom was quite ambitious. I mean, what do you do when you're single and all these other things and you don't have this and you don't have this and you're sick and it's like, well, you know what, hey, here's an opportunity. It's not the best opportunity, but I don't know what other opportunity I have, and I want to be ambitious enough to at least do this to provide, and it's seemingly the best I can. And this is what I think most of our parents have done, regardless of how we may have experienced it and perceived it as a child. Your mom did the best she could with what she had to do with.
Mm.
And my question is, Lingen, in your own personal evaluation of yourself, can you honestly say that if you really respect your mom and you see that she always did the best she could with what she had to work with, would you agree that your mom did that?
Mm.
Are you today doing the best you can with what's available to you today to work with?
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I would say like if my mother were in my shoes right now with all my resources, like she would be like a millionaire. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Mm.
If she had your health, if she had access to all the information that was available, all of
Mm.
the different tools, techniques, and strategies to learn how to and then implement on any of her dreams or ideas of what she wanted to create next, sounds like she was an incredibly resourceful woman.
Yeah, she was. Mm.
My question is, how do you want your children to live their adult lives?
Um, yeah, I want them to be happy. I think I want them to be um, ambitious and humble at the same time. Have a great work-life balance and more love for themselves. In some way, I might think that I don't love myself enough because if I were coaching myself, like I would be more ambitious for myself. And it's like it's okay to help other people, but yeah, but as for me, I don't need more, but actually I want more. Yeah.
Well, we
I,
just talked about for just a moment
mm,
the lower Maslow hierarchy of needs, you don't need more. But on the
yeah,
higher, you just
exactly.
came already to an increased awareness that emotionally Lingen does need more.
Yeah.
But the question that what we're dabbling into now is Lingen worthy of more?
Mm.
And before you answer that question, I want to ask you this. Do you desire for your 3 children in their 20s, 30s, and 40s to struggle with feeling worthy of financial wealth if it is easily, readily available to them?
I don't want them to struggle because in some way it's a waste of energy and time because with all that energy because struggling is a very time and energy consuming. It's not so using that energy to help other people to contribute just to enjoy life is way better. Yeah. So
So so you
I
would
don't
prefer
want.
your children not struggle.
No, yeah, no, I don't. I prefer them not to struggle because in
So
some
if
way I don't like to waste things, and in some way I'm wasting my time and energy. by struggling for nothing sometimes.
So if you would like your children to learn how to say, listen, there's no reason for you to feel any lack of worthiness, not just for your lower hierarchical needs, but it's okay for you to not struggle. It's okay for you to be fully worthy and go after your emotional needs. It's okay for you as long as you're not doing this in a way that breaks your moral compass, in a way that is taking advantage of others. As long as what you're doing is of service to others, and it's within your values and it's within your priorities, and if the resources are available and there are two paths before you, lots of time, effort, and energy, and struggle and worry and suffering, or there's an equal opportunity for great wealth and profitability with lots of margin in your life, and the one with wealth and margin and all this other stuff actually brings greater value to others, it's okay to just embrace this and go with life in a way that is not filled with all the struggle and suffering for yourself. If
Mm.
that's what you would desire for your children to learn and to live, what is the best way for you to teach that to your children? Are you going to create a course and train them and teach them with your words, or is there a better way for them to pick this up?
What I'm thinking now is I work at home right now. I have a small office, not here, but next to it. Um, and sometimes I work during her lunch and her dinner because she eats earlier than me and because I'm still finishing some tasks. So I think I want her to see that I'm I live a happy life with my work and I have time for her, time to spend with her, time in the family. And for that to happen, I need to uh, I need to deliver more value, work on more critical tasks instead of everything, and have and make more money per hour. Like my dream is to work 25 hours a week, and all the time left would be spent with my family, my friends, with the church, with my hobbies. But in some way, I think I don't allow myself to go that road because uh, maybe I don't think I deserve this. I'm not worthy of this. Maybe it's too lazy to want to work only 25 hours. Uh,
And those things, those three beliefs right there, do you want to pass them down to your three children?
no, no, of course not.
Okay. So the best way to make sure that your kids don't learn those from you is for you to do what?
Um, yeah, to allow myself uh, to dream bigger, to work better.
Can I introduce? What about taking some time, effort, and energy to write down those three beliefs that you just said and work on coaching yourself to transmute those beliefs into something that is an empowering alternative belief?
Mm,
So I'd have to go back in the transcript, but one of them, I'm not worthy, it's
yeah.
lazy, and there was another one. But you would want to go back and listen to this again, write those three beliefs down, and Ling, in the only way that you're not going to automatically pass those down to your children is for you to eliminate them from your life.
Mm,
Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that your kids if you continue to hold your beliefs and live your life and do your business the way you're doing it, your children, you may never speak the words. You may never speak those three beliefs with those words ever to your children. But do you see how they could automatically see it, witness it, use their own words to figure out what it is? But by the time they're your age, they would be living life with those three beliefs because they picked them up and they respect you. They love you and they honor you so much that they want to stay in alignment with the great things you taught them and the example of life that you had lived for them. Do you see how, unless you do something today or this week, this month, this year to transmute those beliefs into an empowering alternative, you are going to teach this to your children.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Mm. Mm.
Let's take a look at one of those. Have you and I talked about, because I know you come from a Christian perspective. So have you and I talked about what is the greatest commandment? When Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment? Do you know what that is?
To love, I don't know in English, but to love the
To love
other
the Lord your
people.
God with all your heart, mind, soul, and spirit.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Jesus said, but wait, the second commandment is equally as important.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, if you live just these two commandments, it sums up everything in the law.
Mm-hmm.
What's the second? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's to love others like you love yourself. I don't know.
I love that translation. To love others in what way?
As I love myself, as
Yeah.
we love ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So I should love others in a way that they are unworthy.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
I should love others as it's okay if you suffer.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
I should love others as it's okay if you struggle. You don't need more.
Mm.
That's the way you should love others?
No, it's not love.
Pretty powerful, isn't it? That second commandment.
Mm-mm.
So, one of the best ways that you can improve the way that you are loving others is to first change how you're loving who?
Loving myself. Yeah. Yeah, like for example, Jesus don't doesn't want us uh, to be how to say nailed on a cross. Like uh, if it happens, but it happens, but it's not his willing for us to suffer like he did. It's
Matter
not
of
part of his plan.
Jesus
Yeah.
said this, don't worry about anything. Don't be anxious about where your next clients come from. Instead, just simply do this. Seek first the kingdom of God and go within, and anything you ask for, it will be given. In fact, there are many times he says, listen, if you are ever overwhelmed, if you are ever burdened, by the way, you said, but if I suffer and struggle, it's okay. That's not what Jesus said, is it? He said, no, if you are ever struggling or suffering, come to me and I will give you rest for your soul. My yoke is eaten, my burden is light. I live a life of margin. Do
Yeah,
you
and
know one of
actually,
my Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, actually, God suffers when I struggle. Like it doesn't bring him joy at all.
Yeah, just now your child is 3 years old, hopefully wonderful and healthy right now. She is, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Um I want to tell you there's this time, and it still gives me I don't know if you could see this. I got goosebumps on my it gives me the heebie-jeebies when I think about this. My son and I went out for this long walk, and we were crossing a 4-lane major highway. Pretty dangerous move as a parent, taking my son Matthew, who is now 22 years old, but at the time he was like 7 or 8 years old. So just imagine little tiny Matthew, right? And I said, Matthew, when I tell you to go, hold my hand. When I tell you to go, we are going to run across this 4-lane highway. All right. And he's like, okay, Dad. And I said, and I looked both ways, like, okay, now's the time. And we go. And I'm pulling him, and his legs are shorter than my legs, and I'm holding his hand, and he tripped and he skinned his knee, and like just like blood all the way down his right from his knee down to his shin. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I pick him up, like bear hug him, and I'm running across the rest of the road. And as a father, I'm devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? My son has fallen. He's bleeding. Now, of course, because Dad, I'm okay. It's okay. Dad, I'm okay. But to give you this idea of, how would a father feel when their child is suffering? Do you see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
You don't want your child to suffer. And I love this, and I share that metaphor. God doesn't want you to struggle and to suffer. He's like, listen, if you could only understand this, he says, Jesus gave us a formula. Anything, if you will go to your father in private and ask him for whatever you desire in my name, or in alignment with the things that I have taught you, the values that I've shared with you in my teaching to you, anything you ask for, it will be given to you if you believe, if you do not doubt, and if you are willing to give thanks, knowing in advance you have received what you have asked for. If you will have the faith of a mustard seed, anything you ask for is yours. Does that sound like Jesus was teaching us that, you know what, it's okay to just go through life suffering? It's okay to just struggle your way through things.
Yeah, no.
Now, I'm not suggesting that Jesus is saying he's promising us a struggle-free, suffering-free life. He did say, listen, there will be certain things that come up in the world, and there will be some things that people will persecute you. They may even accuse you and all sorts of other things. But the question is how much of this are we bringing upon ourselves, or is it the world or the whatever circumstances bringing it upon us? And I think what I've witnessed with you and what you've shared with me is like, listen, my limitations and my struggle and my suffering, they're not required, and I've sort of just brought them on myself. Is that
Yes.
accurate?
Yeah, yes, it's exactly this.
So what comes up for you as you think of it as to this whole process of wanting to have more profitability, knowing already how to do it? And we use this word ambition. By the way, ambition, I think, can be a double-edged sword. Now, I don't know if this is just lost in translation because there are limited words from French to English. But on the English side, growing up, there is ambition, which could be seen as a positive trait, but it also has a very negative, dark side to it as well. And so it's a double-edged sword where ambition could be seen a lot of different ways. And so I don't know if that resonates for you.
Yeah, it's the same in France, but yeah, it's the same in France. It's because I'm an entrepreneur for so many years that I only take the positive definition of ambitious, but it's the same in French.
Yeah. But so here now, knowing that you've said that, so you've talked about I really want to have more ambition. I think I've heard you say I really need to have more ambition, or maybe you've said a variation of I should have more ambition. There's a real danger about saying words like that, knowing that there's a very negative connotation to it, but only
Mm.
focusing on the positive, in that your subconscious mind, if it's aware that there's a lot of negative, to actually realize that your subconscious mind, that auto success mechanism, as talked about in psycho-cybernetics, says, listen, I know you say you want to be ambitious, but that's real dangerous, and it leads to a lot of things that you know you don't want in your life, so I'm going to keep you from being ambitious.
Mhm. Okay.
So my question for you as we get there, is it possible to define pursuing more profit, more margin, more return on investment for every amount of time, effort, and energy that you put in? Is it possible for you to come up with a way of describing what that lifestyle is without using a loaded word such as
Mm.
ambitious?
Um, I was thinking about prosperous, but it's loaded as well, I
I
think.
have 2 words for you:
Yeah.
resourceful. And the second word, stewardship.
Mm.
Actually, I'm going to put responsible. Okay, so those are the 2. So it's one word and one phrase. Resourceful. So you see that in a way, one of the things that you've tried to avoid, even though you say you focus on the positive aspects only of ambition, in a way you've attempted. And the way you describe, 25 hours a week and I make plenty of money and I do all these other things. Well, gosh, in a way, that's not being as ambitious as one could be in their entrepreneurial pursuits. Yes?
Yeah.
So do you see how in a way you've got this, I should be more ambitious, and that's how I'm going to get to this less ambitious lifestyle.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay. But what if instead of saying I need to be more ambitious and I need to be that word, you know what? I need to be more resourceful. Resourceful means that, you know what? I have these resources and right now I'm being very inefficient in how I'm using those resources.
Mm.
There's a lot of waste that's happening here. And I need to cut back the waste and be more resourceful. I need to appreciate and fully use up the resources that God has gifted me in this season of life.
Mm.
And this in a way is the same as saying I want to be a more responsible steward of the time, effort, energy, skills, talents, abilities, areas of expertise, and all of the other resources that I have. I want to be a more responsible steward of these gifts.
Mm.
Is that better than ambitious?
Yeah, it's better. It's better because it comes from the Bible, and it's very important for me because it's linked to my relationship with God. Maybe maybe I also need some word more like the joy, the happiness, the lighter words, because it's really important for me. Also, I think one leverage for me is to to use more of my creativity. I think in some way I also need to think this business thing as a like a game. If
Mm.
I take it too seriously, I'm not sure it 100% fits to me. I need to see that it's a big deal, but at the same time, it's supposed to be fun, to be a happy place, to be joyful, and to spread like in some way. I think I never say it this way, but I think one of my life mission is to spread joy. I think that's really important for me. I never thought it this way, but I think this is really a value I have, like to make things fun, to help people enjoy life, to help people like see how great is our world, how the nature is beautiful, how many opportunities there are, how great God is. And I think in some way I want to spread more love, more joy, more fun, and I need to include this in my business mission, I think. Yeah.
I think so as well. I can imagine you one day leading an in-person workshop. And let's just say 200 people come to this workshop where you talk about how to really enjoy the lifestyle of entrepreneurship and how much joy and how much love you could spread and how much fun and enjoy, and all of the different benefits that come from the margin on all this stuff. Meanwhile, by the way, I think it would be really great if you would struggle and suffer for months and months and months to try to sell that out, and then struggle and suffer through all sorts of crap that are going on in your business, and you're barely making any profit. And in fact, you might just barely break even on the workshop, and you get up there and teach everybody about all of this love and all this joy you want to send them home with, and you just say, listen, don't live your life the way that I live. Instead, go do what I say, not what I do.
Um,
Do you get that
talking
I'm being facetious, right?
yeah, I get it, and that I think like it helps me to be aware that I might have a limiting belief. You said in the questionnaire you sent me, I wrote that I know how to get to 1 million, right? But I think one of my limiting belief is you need to be serious, to sacrifice, to suffer to make 1 million, and then you're happy and you're light. And I think one of my limiting belief is uh, either you're happy where you are now, or you suffer for a few years and then you get to a next level of happiness. But meanwhile you just need to struggle, and I don't want that. uh, I want, yeah, I want to feel happy every day of my life. Like my wife often ask me like, you never sad? And tell her, yeah, I'm never sad, and I don't want to be sad because of my business and stuff, but I don't have to. I just have the limiting belief that making more money might affect my joy, my happiness, and I don't know why I think of this.
So,
Actually
do you have a habit
it's
of
the
journaling?
opposite actually.
Yeah. Do you have a habit of journaling?
Um, Not very. I'm not very. It's not a habit. I do it from time to time.
One thing that I might suggest is just a session of journaling about this belief that if I were to radically increase my profitability in my business, that comes along with experiencing a time or series, season or a period of suffering and struggle. And what you need to do is you need to ask yourself, and I would, why do I, or what would I have to believe this? What examples, what things have I heard in my life? What situations have I seen? What stories, what movies, what TVs shows, what books have I read where this was what was conditioned for me to believe? And then once you kind of get a picture of, okay, this is where that belief came from, then I would encourage you to write this in your journal. Is it true that to increase profit and wealth, that I must suffer and struggle and put off my happiness until a date into the future, or whatever the statement, or whatever the belief statement is? And the answer to the question is no. You had just said that right as I was breaking in. You said, no, this isn't true. And then I like to put in my journal when I'm working on a limiting belief, here's what I know to be true. And then I start writing bullet point statements that actually prove the opposite of that belief.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, while you were saying that, I was thinking about maybe in my subconscious mind, I already reached the level of happiness, the ultimate level of happiness. It's obviously a subconscious, right? Because I
Yep.
know that there can be more. And it's not on. We were talking about money. Yeah, I don't need more money because my needs are satisfied. But maybe I'm thinking I don't need more money to be happier, and one of my goals is to be happier. But actually, I think I've been raised in such a poor environment that in some way I think, yeah, I don't deserve more happiness. It's already a lot. Like my parents didn't have 10% of what I had. And I know it's written in the Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. In some way, I don't know the word. I'm when you I'm faithful to my parents. I don't know the word in the book. Yeah, and I don't want to be too happy because it will be way more than what my parents lived, and that's not good for them, even though they passed away. And of course, all they wanted for me was to be happy. But in some way, maybe I fear that by being too happy, I'm letting down so many people who suffer.
Can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
Let's just say you get to the place where you are comfortably, you talk about making $50,000, going from $20,000 a month to $50,000 a month, and bringing in at least $10,000 a month profit for yourself. All right.
Mm.
Let's just say you get there, and let's just say you stay there for the next 20 years of your life, and you live a really good life with that. All right. Now, let me ask you this. If your 3 children get into their 40s and they all decide to go an entrepreneurial route, and each of them, all 3 of them, develop a business that has a product or service that is so widely needed and praised around the world that literally tens of millions of people buy their independent projects, such that each of your 3 children have a business that they sold to a major corporation, and they all have a net worth of more than $15 million and never would have to work another day in their life, would you be upset as their parent?
I won't be upset as long as they use the money and the time for valuable projects after selling the company. Yeah.
Now, think about that. You're saying, I already have so much more than my parents ever did. Do you think that they would be upset if they were alive to know that? Or would they also want you to say, listen, Lingen, it's great that you have this, but with all of this margin in your life, I hope that you are living according to the values that we instilled in you and that you're doing great things with all of that margin of time and all that margin of wealth. Isn't that what they would want for you? Do you think that they would really, your parents would ever want you to limit how much you would earn in this world?
Mm. Actually, I didn't think about this for a long time, but when I was a teenager, I remembered my mother. Well, she wasn't very um, how to say, very she she wasn't a good communicator, let's say, but she often took the daily papers and say, look at this young man, like he's very young and he's doing awesome things, and he's on the journal. So in some way she wanted this for me, of course. Yeah, she really wanted me to be successful. Yeah.
She wanted you to have more than she ever had in her lifetime.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she said it very clearly. There's no question about this. Mm.
So does that help you remove some of that upper limit from that perspective now?
Yeah.
One other thing, and we'll slowly wind down. We have about 13 minutes left in our 90 minutes together.
Mm.
One of the things that you know about me is my own faith background.
Mm.
And the way that I've always seen my business. I don't ever really do much publicly to announce this. But from day one, the reason why I left my career as an insurance agent and began to pursue all of this stuff, that this online business stuff that became available originally through the source of podcasting and then expanded way beyond just podcasting. But from January 1st, 2008 on, I didn't literally start a business. I went into full-time ministry.
Mm. Mm.
See, that the whole reason I wanted to leave my day job is because my day job as an insurance agent was a waste of my hours every week. I'm sitting here faxing proof of insurance cards to people
Mm.
at the courthouse because they couldn't be bothered to remember to pick them up from the house or whatever. I'm sitting here, somebody's buying a car and they need, 14 different variations of how to do this because they can't afford the insurance on the car that they couldn't afford. You know, and it's like, hey, my insurance rates just went up $35. Can you reshop my insurance with all your other companies? Otherwise, I'm leaving for a competitor. This is the kind of busy work that I was doing for 16,000 people a majority of the time. Now, don't get me wrong, there was for a season, my insurance career allowed me to do great ministry. There are many times that I was the first person somebody talked to after the house just burned to the ground, or a tornado just ripped through their neighborhood, or a daughter was just killed in a car accident. So me being the person I am on that side of on a conversation of something of that nature that's just happened I had some incredible ministry opportunities, but those were like maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, once every 2 or 3 months. I would have this opportunity. And for a long time, that was way more opportunity to do the ministry, to be of that level of value and service. That I had more opportunity as an insurance agent than I did as 10 years as a pastor. Do you follow what I'm saying? But when all of a sudden I now created all these podcasts and I'm reaching hundreds of thousands of people and hundreds of emails a month are coming into me with people begging me for advice and wisdom and encouragement and support. Now, oh my gosh, there's way more need for the kind of ministry that I feel called to be in the world over here than what insurance can offer me. And then even though I was far more profitable at the time as an insurance agent that I could see over here, I'm like, wow, I have to find some way to get rid of this commitment to sit here in this office 40 to 60 hours a week and go over and do this thing I feel more called to do, which is my business, which in my mind wasn't, I didn't even think of it as a business at first, which is, a limiting mindset. I just thought of it as this is my calling in the world. This is my work. This is my mission. And it took me a while to navigate a lot of limiting beliefs about ministry should be free and all this other stuff, and you shouldn't charge people for what you love. And I've shared all that stuff, but now I'm at a place where, Lingen, today I work approximately 12 to 15 hours a week, and I make anywhere between $20 to $30,000 a month pretty consistently without any problem. I could work more hours and make more money. I could actually just charge more money and work less hours and even make more money. I mean, there's all sorts of opportunities, but here's what I will tell you. I may work 15 hours a week. I'm not lazy. And it frees me up. I mean, how much are you being charged for our 90-minute call today?
Zero.
Exactly. Why am I able to do this? Because I have so much margin in my life. I'm not doing this for any other reason that I felt like, man, I want to start showing up on live stream, and I wonder what kind of format I could do. And I tried a couple of formats and I came up with this. And then all of a sudden I land on this. And do you know what like God just laid into my life? It's like, wait a second. I know that you just wanted to show up and do live streams and be more support and encouragement, and you have lots of margin and you're looking to do something more with your free time. But hey, just so happens that, wow, this is a great way to show people what type of coaching you do. And people are watching it, and people are actually, it's like, oh my gosh, this actually could potentially lead to more business and more profitability in my business. And all, but it wasn't why I even started it. So do you see how I just wanted to spread more love? I want to spread more joy. I want to help put a little bit more end to suffering and struggle in people's lives. I want to help encourage and equip and inspire and motivate people. I want to be ministry, and that is my work.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing myself as in the ministry as well, in some way. That's my goal. I wonder if I should like more like what you're doing, be more clear about my goals are, more transparent with what I want to achieve, because otherwise, like as I introduced myself at the beginning of the session, um, I I know it's really important to do what I do, help coaches grow their business, to launch it, but uh, maybe it's not it was the leverage for me to reach that level of income, but I need to make it more subconscious that I want more. Like what I'm saying is, if I say that my mission is to spread love and joy,
Mhm.
maybe I will make 50K next month, because then I'm like, Okay, like I'm making more money. It's actually really spreading more love and joy. And today, I think the link, the causality between helping my clients and making more, like it's not um, excite exciting enough for me to reach the another level. Yeah, maybe I should like uh I think like one of my expertise my expertise is actually not marketing and sales. I think my expertise is uh, way more like how to be happy. And if I can make this more of my business, my subconscious mind will understand that making more money will directly help people be happier, because indirectly it's not a leverage enough. I know what I'm doing, it's important, because if I help a coach uh, grow his business, he will be helping his family, his clients, himself. But it's indirect, it's not happening right now. But if I, I used to have a blog about personal development 10 years ago for men, and I didn't continue. But in some way, I'm scared to uh, go into the self-help niche, because I don't know, in some way, I don't know if I have some fear or limiting beliefs, or if I don't really want to, but I need to find a way to spread love and to spread joy directly through my business and not only indirectly. Because by doing this, I I would be obligated to grow my business, I think.
Mm. I like that. It sounds to me like there's a lot there for you to explore about what it would look like for you to have a more direct
Mm,
subconscious connection
mm,
between the
mm,
work that you're doing and the mission you feel called to be in this world.
mm,
I know for me, Lingen, what I do. Obviously, I have a very large base of clients who are full time self employed business owners, and a lot of people do hire me to help them increase their revenues and all this other stuff. And they come to me because many of them are struggling emotionally because of some of the ramifications of not doing the things financially that are responsible. They're not being resourceful. They do have a lot of limiting beliefs that create a lot of self-sabotage. And so they come to me thinking, "Hey Cliff, I want to work with you because I see that you have a lot of skills, a lot of techniques and a lot of strategies that I believe that will help me generate more money." And I'm like, I believe I believe you're correct. Yes, I believe that I can help you do those things. But here's the situation. I want to let you know that in the event that I help you go from $3,000 to $7,000 a month where you are now and get you back up to $20,000 a month where you used to be as a solopreneur, I just want you to know this, that unless I can help you experience an end to your suffering and emotional turmoil while you're here, then the money will never put an end to it. Money will only amplify what you habitually experience in your emotional state
mm,
now.
mm,
So, while yes, I will join you in your goal towards greater financial wealth and success and profitability, but during the process, I would like to help you find peace, love, joy, and fulfillment, regardless of how big your business gets or how many dips it has for whatever reasons. Would that be of interest to you? And that's always a qualification today from of the clients that I work with. It's like, listen, primarily, I'm going to be your mindset coach
mm,
because technically, just like my friend Lingen, you already know the techniques, you already know the how, and you already know what you should do. I'm going to help you uncover the reasons why you're not doing it. And it's all in the mind. And it's all about these beliefs. And quite frankly, it doesn't do any good for you to, have $1 million year revenue if you're still waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety, you're extremely stressed out, worried all the time, and you're biting your kids' heads off every time they ask for a favor.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
So that, yeah, you can definitely find a way to incorporate all of this stuff
Mhm.
in. Is definitely a possibility for the future, and it's what I see. Ling, let me ask you this. We've talked about a lot of things today.
Mm.
You said I would like to help. You would like some help in overcoming some of this upper limit challenge, some of this limit on how successful you ought to be. What would you say is the top one or two insights from today's conversation that has helped move the needle towards that?
Um, I think for the first time ever, I said said that, yeah, I um, I stated that I wanted to spread love, to spread joy. Uh, I don't know it was something why it was the first time I think of this, and I think that I need to gamify things in my head, that making more money equals spreading more joy, spreading more joy. If I can find a system uh, where making more money equals spreading more joy, then there's no way I cannot grow my business. Yeah.
Right. And let me ask one more because I think this is an important one, and I think you would have picked it up the second time through. Do you agree that prior to this conversation, you were concerned that your parent that it's not right that you are experiencing way more resources, profitability, and just margin in life than your parents did? Whereas after this conversation, it's like, well, of course, my mom and my dad would want this for me. And the more I lean into this and the more resourceful I become, the better that I become and more efficient and responsible as a steward of all of these gifts and all of these resources that are available to me. Of course, they would want me to maximize what is capable that I'm capable of creating in the world. That's a
Yeah,
new insight that you have from this conversation as
yeah,
well
yeah.
today.
Of course, that was really important as well. Thank you. Mm.
Yeah. Awesome. Lingen, it's always a genuine pleasure. Every time I've ever had the opportunity to work with you one-on-one, it's a joy to see where you are today. I'm excited about your new twins on the way, the expansion of your family, and I look forward to in a year or two from now celebrating that home that you guys have and your 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 better office situation, the incredibly exponentially higher profit margin in your business. I look forward to celebrating the fact that you're only working like 25 hours a week and you got all that time to do all the things that you feel called to do in this world. I definitely see that. Do you see it coming?
Yeah, I do. I do. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, is there anything? Oh, you know what? Let me put this back up. So Lingen Sia, you see it right there. His URL is everything that you would want them to find about you. Is that it? Can they find it there?
Oh, wow. If you're French and you're a coach or aspiring coach, go there, and there are resources that can help you. And hopefully, I will help you be more joyful and enjoy life better as well.
Absolutely. Lingen, thank you so much. And I'm going to bring you down for just a minute, but we'll catch up after I end the live stream here. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this live stream session. I just want to remind you again that I am doing these live streams pretty consistently as long as people volunteer. And currently, I actually have 2 emails in my inbox. This was the last scheduled live stream that I have, but I got 2 emails in my inbox. So likely within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will have those 2 people scheduled and here. But I am looking for about 15, 20, or 30 more people that I would do this 90-minute coaching session for you. My gift to you, no strings attached, no expectation, no obligation. You will ever become a paid coaching client. This is just what I love to do. This is my live stream strategy. And it's just, yeah, it's what I want to do. If you are stuck anywhere, personally, professionally, spiritually, if there's anything you feel called to experience in life that is not currently a part of your life, if there are any obstacles that you need to overcome, please reach out to me. Email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Put live stream coaching in the subject line. I can't wait for an opportunity to work with you. And I'm looking over here. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level. Bye-bye.